Nish, before I call on Senator Joe O'Reilly, could I welcome to the gallery his son Dara and his friends Matt Dempsey from Massachusetts and Liam from Dublin. You're most welcome to Shannon to see Senator Joe O'Reilly address the House.
Thank you very much, Cathaoirleach, and thanks for welcoming those visitors. I, at the outset, want to welcome Minister Fleming to the House and acknowledge the fact that he's bringing the same energy and competencies to this ministry as he did to finance, and indeed to fully endorse, before I get into the issue, the latter part of your presentation, Minister, that's within your own responsibility, that we are upping the aid, keeping the aid going, and of course, as you said, that a postgraduate programme is very, very important. So I salute all of that as important in the context of dealing with it, the situation there, and we are grateful for that, Minister, as a starting point. I suppose the first thing to begin, the opening months of 2023 have seen a deterioration in the human rights and overall well-being in the occupied territories of West Bank, including East Jerusalem and Gaza. Recent incursions into Ramallah on the 8th of June, Jenin on the 18th, have led, in the case of Jenin, to 13 civilian casualties. Increased settler violence also is a feature, as the Minister alluded to. Alongside that, there's been arbitrary arrests, there's been a huge number of injuries and demolition of properties, etc. So it's been a catastrophic incursion. It's illegal and it's wrong, and any suggestion that it's a response to some sort of threat to Israel it's a totally disproportionate response to any particular threat. It's completely disproportionate. It's illegal in international legal law. The number of Palestinian fatalities in the first quarter of 2023 is about 3 times higher than in the same period in 2022. Injuries are 6 times higher. In May, the death of Kader Adnil in Israeli detention following 86 days on hunger strike prompted an escalation in violence. And part of that, of course, as is alluded to by my good friend Senator Davitt, does involve Hamas violence, and of course we condemn any acts of violence into Israel. That's not what we're about, but that does not for a moment justify the incursions, does not justify the repressive approach. And I suppose, to be truthful, the approach of Israel to the occupied territories is the one of a country nervous because of the whole illegality of the settlements and because of the daft setup there, that they're afraid to, for a moment, if you like, to allow normal, civilized living there. My own colleague, when he was a member of the European Parliament, made a very good video on this, Colin Burke from Cork, which is worth watching. Israeli government has expedited the construction of illegal settlements. On the Sunday, the 18th of June, announced a further 4,560 housing units in the West Bank. There's a strategic fragmenting of the occupied territory, putting at risk any chance of a two-state solution. There's curtailing of freedom of movement, roadblocks, diversions, identity cards. 40 UN security resolutions on Jerusalem have been passed to no avail. Between 1993 and 1995, the Oslo Accords involved establishing the A, B and C areas, but in Jenin recently you had the mass arbitrary arrests. I suppose it all began in 1947 with Nakba, or the catastrophe as they call it, when 750,000 Palestinians had to flee. The Amnesty report the recent Amnesty report referred to Israel's behaviour as apartheid. The recent UN report by the rapporteur Francesca Albanese, a special rapporteur, said that again condemned this human rights situation and the colonisation, etc. For 3 generations of Palestinian people are in occupied territories, and it's so. I suppose in the very short time, I want to just say, from an Irish perspective, we obviously, the ideal has been the two-state solution. That seems to be made particularly more difficult now by the fragmentation, by the nature of the settlements. It remains the Irish policy, but another option, of course, is to create a proper unitary state based on democratic principles and mutual respect and proper rights for each people, which doesn't in fact exist for all the Palestinian people who are now living still in Israel. But a proper state that involved a mutuality of respect, mutuality of rights and construction is another option. But I certainly think we as Ireland, we are vigilant on it. The Taoiseach is, Minister Coveney was, you are, Minister Fleming, but we now need to keep that up. And tragically, it's worse it's getting. So there is need that we keep pressure on within Europe and internationally to get a solution. I think, unfortunately, we can't go further with it now, but we will on future occasions.